Strezov Sampling has just released a brand new sample library called the Arabian Ethnic Orchestra. In this video, we'll play through all the samples and look how it performs. But before we hop right into it, a short disclaimer. I am not sponsored, so I'm allowed to say anything I want about it. Also, I haven't opened up the library yet, so this is kind of a discovery we will do together. That being said, let's hop right into it. Alright, here we go. The sample library is now successfully activated. We get 6 main categories. I would say we just start at the top. We start with Tutti, so the sustains. The monolegato. Wow, I mean, the sound is beautiful. And the polylegato. Polylegato is something that Strezov does very nice. Also good playability, especially in the fast notes. That's something I very much like if it's very responsive, so you can actually play with the instrument and you don't have to program everything. First articulation was sustained legato, the second one is tremolo. Marcato. It's a little bit slow, so the spizzicato. Okay, but this is very responsive. Let's turn off the reverb, just to look how it sounds without the reverb. Oh, actually, I like the room sound. It's not a very big room, which makes it, I think, very authentic. Because it's not like a big kind of symphonic orchestra, but a little smaller orchestra. I very much like the room they went for. And you still have the option to add the reverb, so this makes kind of the bigger sound. Great. Now we come to the pizzicato. Let's move on to the trill. Oh. Okay, so we get the trill, and then it stays on the note, okay. Get a triplet. Okay, this one was the minor, this one is the major. Then we have turn. Okay. Then we have the turn in major again. Vorschlag. This is German. Why does it say Vorschlag? Okay, we have the Vorschlag in major. We have the ornaments. Ornaments in major. Okay, that's it. We get close mics, mid mics, far mics. Let's listen through them. It's the close mics. It's the mid mics. That's the far mics. Let's go over to the Tutti octaves. And then we have the phrases combined patch. Let's start with this one. I think they sound good. Okay, this was the Nahawand. Now we go to the Hijaz. Hijaz? Makam Bayat. Makam Rast. I'm wondering if the tempo changes actually if you change the tempo in your DAW. Yes, perfect. So these phrases are coupled to your DAW, which is great. Okay, So we have these different phrases. Now we go one folder back and look into the single instruments. So we have the ensemble basses. What do we get in here? Yeah, this sounds a little bit more weak, I would say, compared to the other patches, but let's look into and we only have like 1, 2, 3 articulations. I'm not sure why there is less articulations. Maybe the basses are not as often used. If you know something about this, let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to learn. Let's look into the cellos. I think that sounds very nice again. Let's go to the tremolo patch. Now the marcato. Spiccato. Okay, and so on. Okay, viola, we get the same ones. Wow, they sound nice. They have this like boxy kind of sound. And violins. So this is the violins polylegato. Very nice, very nice. This was the bowed strings. Now let's go into the plucked strings. Let's start with the sus. So we get improvised, we get the key switch, and we get the phrases. Turn off the reverb to check the sound. I very much like the room, to be honest. The room sound is... There's so much captured in this room. I think this instrument doesn't have to hide behind the reverb, because sometimes if an instrument isn't sounding good, they have to add a lot of reverb. But I think this instrument sounds good. So let's move on to the phrases and listen to what they have in store for us. So the first one is, again, the Nahawan. I'm still trying to figuring out how you can adjust the volume from... Because if I press like this, it's the same loudness as this, the volume control, and I have the modulation control, and if like full up, full down, it's the same. So I think the only real chance you have like is your track volume, or maybe the volume from contact. It's not like a dynamically recorded sample, but I mean, I get it. There's so many phrases recorded, but they sound authentic. The Hichas. The Bayat. Now let's turn off the reverb real quick. And remember, these are like always the root keys that I'm playing, so you get these phrases for a whole octave. So you can also use the pitched version, for example, on the B or on the C or on the E. Now we have the improvised. Oh, this one. I think this one is nice. Let's look at. So the improvised ones are more like recordings, and they're also not spread across the keyboard. So every key is a different recording, and there's a lot. So the key switches are actually the different scales. So this is like all the Nahawan scales. The next key one is the all Hijaz. A lot of stuff in there, to be honest. And now the same thing with the oud. Let's look into the sound of the oud. Let's make something fun real quick, because I also have something from Native Instruments that I got a couple of years ago. I think it's very old. It's the Middle East. Arabian Ethnic Orchestra. It's a lot less compressed, a lot less of a direct solo kind of sound, but a more roomy sound. It sounds much more natural, I think, even with the reverb turned on or off. So what else do we get with the oud? We get the improvised one. What does the phrases do? I very much like that they differentiate between key switch, improvised, and phrases. So when you're using the key switches, you can compose every little key. When you use the phrases, you have a little less self-control, but you can still choose which scale and which note is played. And then you have the improvised ones, which are literally just recordings. Okay, we had the oud 1, now we have the oud 2. Let's check this out real quick. Next instrument, the Qanun. So the Qanun, actually, a funny little side story. I used a Qanun for my final exam in Zurich, because I did score a documentary. I actually got a Qanun from Syria, so it is in my back room. Let me quickly show you the recording of the Qanun that I recorded back then. Okay, so now the Strezov one. So as you might have heard, it sounds very realistic, and especially when you repeat the note. And this comes down to the fact that these samples do have 5 round robins. You see the comparison? So this was with 5 round robins, and now the same thing with 1 round robin. I guess most of you know what a round robin is. If not, it just means that one note is recorded multiple times. So we had the staccato, we have the tremolo, also dynamically controllable, perfect. We have ornaments, and we have ornaments too. So next one is the phrases, Qanun phrases. Oh, actually, this kind of reminds me of something. So this was the oud, and this is the Qanun. Do you see it? So now if we play both, it's actually the same thing. So they actually recorded the same phrases with every instrument. Next instrument, the Bouzouk. Okay, Bouzouk. First, sustain. Tremolo. And the dum. Deactivates the reverb. So next up we have Bouzouk improvisation. With the E-Saz you only have the phrases. Just to clarify something, the instruments that you get all the three different types is the Saz, the Oud, and the Qanun. From there on, the other instruments, they don't have all the phrases, improvisations, and key switch patches, which I think is okay, because like I don't know how many times I would use a E-Saz. Let's listen to it. Sounds very cool, very different sound. Let's go to the E-guitar. Oh, this is an actual guitar, like an electric guitar. I'm curious. I'm very curious. Nice. That's nice. Okay, so they actually recorded the same phrases that they recorded with all the other instruments, but just with an electrical guitar. That's a cool thing. Yeah, and you can really hear that this is recorded by an actual person. And then we have the phrases combined. This gives the answer to what we discovered before, that the phrases are actually the same, just played on different instruments. Nahawand. We went through the plucked strings. Now let's move on to woodwinds. So we get 5 woodwinds. We get the ney, we get the Kawala, Mizmar, and Mijwez. First things first, when I open up this instrument and it shows me what the actual instrument looks like, that's something I very much like. So first, the sustain patch. Now the second sustain. Ooh, wow, that sounds nice. Can we adjust the speed? Yeah. The playability is amazing, especially of this instrument. You get the sustain. You also get like the legato patch, and the legato patch, because it has like this fast attack, very playable. I very much like it. It's so hard to get, like, especially with world instruments, get world instruments that are that well playable. That is actually one of my favorite thus far. Oh, it even gets harder. Okay, let's just rewind this. The first sustain, second sustain, third sustain, and fourth. Marcato. So this is not only like marcato, but it also has this kind of like humanity in it. Marcato 2. Staccato. A little bit less of octaves, so you only get 1 octave of staccato. But I can assume you don't need it that often. Let's look into the phrases real quick. Yes, that's the same phrase. Wow, that's played very nicely. Oh, this sounds amazing. Okay, the phrases, they really got me. And now the improvisation. Yeah, I oftentimes find it hard to use these in compositions because it's really hard to find the ones that fit, but this is like only my opinion. Well, let's go to the next instrument, the Kawala. Okay, it looks like this. Now sustained. Second one, fast vibrato. The slow vibrato. Marcato. Now marcato 2. Staccato. I miss the sustain options from the other instrument. I really much like those, but you get different articulations, you get vibratos. Let's go to the phrases. And the improvisations. You know what this reminds me kind of? When I was young, I used to play this computer game called Stronghold Crusader. And I think there was like a soundtrack with this exact instrument. Instrument number 3 in this category is the Mijwez. And we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones. This is the number 1. Glissando. Staccato, trills, then the Mijwez 2. Let's compare again Mijwez number 1, Mijwez 2. Okay, a little bit of a different sound. Now Mijwez number 3. Mijwez number 4. Mijwez number 5. And then we get a whole ensemble of the Mijwez. This is almost 2 octaves. You get improvisations for all these Mijwez. Let's just look at one. Let's move on. We come to woodwind number 4, the Mizmar. We get the Mizmar 1C. Oh, from the looks, I know what is coming now. Sustain number 2. Sustain number 3. Tremolo. And staccato. Mizmar 1F. Sustained 1. So this is a little bit lower than the other one. Sustain 2. Tremolo. We come to the Mizmed. We get another key. This looks like kind of a bagpipe situation. And again, it's a legato patch. Very nice. And the playability, perfect. On spot. And we get improvisation patch. This wraps up the category of woodwinds. Next up we come to the category of percussions. Okay. What is this? Trying to understand this whole thing a little bit better. Honestly, it kind of like took me a little while to understand this. You get different zones. For this zone, for example, you can choose which kind of preset you want to use for this. So for example, there is the Mizmar Ensemble drum. And this is like one drum sound. So it's distributed on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keys, but it's one sound. What this means is that you can play with the different keys. This allows you something like this. It's kind of more of a playing style. I very much like it, actually, the idea. Let's quickly go through these percussions. This one was Mizmar Ensemble Dum, Mizmar Ensemble Sec. Okay, these like the different play styles. Mizmar Medium. It's like if you would play the instrument in real. Then the small one. Then the large one. Then the requiem. The sukel. The tabla. The tabla ensemble, wow, this sounds amazing. Also because it's all recorded with 5 round robins again, which makes it a great tabla ensemble. Let's look into the percussion loops. This is called Fox. Next one, VST Sophie. VST Al Arabia. Now let's turn off the reverb. Let's go through the microphones. This is the closed microphone. Nice. Mid microphone. Far. If you just want one single percussion plate from this, like this, you can kind of add it. See? And I guess when you press all keys down, then you get all the instruments. This gives a lot of flexibility to build up a composition from this rhythmical patch. I was playing this one before, didn't I? This is very inspiring. The percussion loops. Wow, wow, wow. Number 5, voices. So we get soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and FX. Let's look into the sustains first. So we have syllable, autosyllable. With voices, it's always hard to get voices good. Whether it's choir or solo voices, I'm never very convinced. And especially when it doesn't come with legato. Does it? No, it doesn't come with legato. To me, I don't like it too much. Like, if I compare it to the other stuff that this library comes with, I gotta be honest, but maybe let's give the shorts a chance. Okay, so they have staccato and they have staccatissimo. So I can imagine this working in ensemble kind of context, like to add some color. But now let's look into the phrases. I can imagine something good happening here. This saves it for me. Let's move on to the alto. Alto phrases. Let's look into the tenor voices. The phrases. Okay, bass. This sounds wow. Sustain again. Maybe it's also me, and I'm just not used to these kind of patches, so I don't know how to work with them, and maybe there is a way to actually play those instruments. However, the phrases are great. Voices FX, the fifth and last category for the voices. Maybe my friend can like translate this. If he translates it, I will now show him over there.
Dass der Bräutiger an diesem Tag glücklich sein soll und darf uns seine Wünsche äußern.
Okay, here you get more shorts. I like these categories because they add flavor. That's nice. This was the voices, and now we come to the final category, the sparks. Honestly, I have no idea what awaits us in there. The thrill of discovery. Okay, Saladin. We get ethnic, percussion and synth as three different mix. So that's the ethnic, okay. Percussion. Okay, and synth. Nice. Kind of bring it together, okay. Okay, there's so much more pads and synthesizer. This kind of brings us to the last question. Is the Arabian Ethnic Orchestra by Strezov Sampling worth it or not? For what you get with the library, the articulations, the round robins, the microphone positions, the organic sound, the playability of most of the instruments, and just the sheer amount of different instruments. Absolutely. I heard it's from a composer for a composer, and I can definitely sign that. It's very playable and it's a lot of fun playing with this instrument. I don't have any discount codes because as said in the beginning, I am not sponsored or anything. If you cannot afford a library as this, then make sure to check out my latest video, 35 free instruments that I discovered. It should pop up on the screen right now. That being said, thank you so much for watching. I wish you a beautiful day and take care. See you over there. Bye bye.